Google. All right, folks. Three concerns, right? We keep talking about it every day when it comes to the AI trade. Stock valuations, Art just talked a little bit about that. Financing needs, oh boy, the circular financing, $5 trillion, where do you get it? And then energy needs. I got to tell you something. When it comes to energy, you got to think about this. There's no better guest than NinjaTrader Group, their senior economist, Tracy Shuchart. Tracy, much has been made about this, obviously, the energy storage situation that's needed to achieve this AI center, at least the goals that we have in mind. And the great hope is that nuclear is going to play a massive role to help us get there. But, you know, so much of it right now, I mean, just the uranium part of it, so much of it we bring in-house. We have to import. And I know there's been an uptick recently in domestic production. Are you, how confident are you we're going to have the uranium that we need to build out the nuclear power plants to power these data centers?
Well, I think, you know, we need to approach this kind of in a different way. U.S. has indeed had explosive 1,200% growth, going from almost zero to in domestic mining. That said, these mines are only operating at about 28% of capacity because there's nowhere to process the ore domestically. So the biggest hurdle really isn't the amount of or the shortage of uranium in the ground. It's kind of a lack of domestic infrastructure to process it. But the good news is that the government has just allocated $2.7 billion to support this effort. And this isn't just a subsidy. This is a strategic investment to the development of processing facilities. And for miners, this is kind of the light at the end of the tunnel because it signals kind of a guaranteed domestic buyers for their uranium that will be on the horizon. And then as these conversion and enrichment plants come online, they're going to secure long-term contracts with miners for feedstock, creating a competitive and high-margin environment for established U.S. mining operations. So it's good news for miners in the U.S. and North America.
So I've been reading also that maybe an overlooked aspect of this energy need is fossil fuels, particularly crude oil. We know nat gas. Will crude oil play a role in this somehow?
Well, you know, it has been brought up. You know, we don't use crude oil for power burn or power generation in the U.S. They do elsewhere, particularly in the Middle East. And so certainly we likely see their data centers use crude oil for power burn. I don't think we'll necessarily see that in the U.S. But, you know, as far as natural gas is concerned, we've had huge large-scale projects announced this year.
Yeah, no, nat gas is a grand slam when it comes to this. So last time you were on the show in June, you gave 100%. Us Uranium Energy Corp, UEC, it's a symbol, up huge, like 80%. Do you still like it here?
I still like it. Charles, I think it's still the first inning for these domestic miners. Of course, nothing goes in a straight line, but with the investment in our infrastructure, for these processing facilities, this is a guaranteed buyer for U.S. uranium. So we're in the very beginning stages of this for U.S. miners, North American miners.
I know you commented on a major deal down in Texas, right? Of course, the amount of nuclear renewable activity down there is huge. You know, we don't talk, I don't know, think enough about connecting the dots for the economic impact. You know, Main Street wants to know, how do they get a piece of the action? I mean, what do you think with respect to Texas, the efforts that they've had to bring in high-tech businesses and maybe even now rival Wall Street?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's absolutely amazing. You know, economic output from Texas nuclear plants generates about $4.4 billion annually, contributing $2.9 billion to the state's gross GDP. And they are rapidly becoming, you know, a large employer for nuclear energy. Not only that, they are a huge leader in renewable energy with massive investments in solar and wind and energy storage and hydrogen. And Texas also benefits from a deregulated electricity market and an independent power grid that's not connected to the U.S. So what is happening here? And as you mentioned, you know, Texas is actively developing its own financial infrastructure by the SEC approval of the TS TSXE, which is kind of a challenger to the NYSE and the NASDAQ exchanges. And so we're seeing huge corporations move to Texas right now.
Yeah.
We're seeing employment growth explode, and we're seeing major Wall Street firms move there.
Yeah, Texas, all hat and some cattle too. Tracy, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Good work as usual.
Thank you.